Good morning, it's Norma Cowie here on a Sunday morning with a Sunday thought. Actually, I'm going to carry on from what I was talking about on Wednesday. And so just because when I finished my talk on Wednesday, I realized I wasn't finished. So I decided I would continue on today. And I want to welcome Leroy here. I think you put something in on Wednesday too, and I think it got missed. So that's been at the back of my mind all the time. Plus, just to make everything exciting, I lost my computer yesterday. When I say I lost my computer, not physically, but the screen went, everything went, and I couldn't figure out how to bring it out. I spent a number of hours pretty concerned about it, and I didn't know what to do. Anyway, this morning I got up and touched a couple. I did some prayer work on it. I did some other things on it, and I touched some buttons, and all of a sudden it came back. So I'm still a little jittery because, anyway, I'm on air, and that's kind of nice. So we're going to talk today about energy of there's thoughts, there's feelings, there's behavior. There's lots of different things that we can do, and very often we will feel there is no way we can change that. So first of all, let's talk about thought, which I've done quite often. And when you have a thought that you don't want, and thoughts have a tendency because they come up from the subconscious into the conscious, and you think it. When you put energy behind a thought, whether it's anger or frustration or the many other things that go on, it gives it power. The more power you give it, the more often you think it. So the first thing is to be aware of your thinking. And the way I've always done that is to sit back in my mind and watch it like it's like a ticker tape thing when it goes across the consciousness, because it's got to go across the consciousness to come out of your mouth if you're talking about it, but to think about it. So you can sit back and watch your thinking without judgment. Just realize, well, that's not supporting what I want or what I want to create, etc. Then what I've done for years, when I first started, I had to do it a lot, is if I had a thought and I found I had a lot of thoughts the same, and people who have listened to me quite a bit, you all have heard this before, I would freeze it, freeze it, then I would see it evaporate, disappear. Then I would replace it. Now, that is one of the keys of transformation. You don't just erase something without replacing it, because your system will replace it, which was what already was there. So if you have a thought that you want to change, you need to evaporate it, then replace it with another thought. As you'll find, that's what we need to do with many things, but the thinking comes first. Changing the thinking to begin to think with what you want is very, very, very important. So now next thing we have is, what do we have when we have feelings? How do we change feelings? Some feelings are very strong and sometimes can take a bit. But what I found worked for me was color. So again, we're looking and working with the subconscious mind. So you have a feeling, and it doesn't make you feel good. Some feelings make you feel great. A lot don't. So there's a feeling that comes up, and all of a sudden I'm blank of feelings. Do I have feelings? Yes, I do. Feelings come up. Now, I talked about frustration a couple of weeks ago. So let's talk about frustration. Frustration is there. Now, if you're conscious enough, sometimes when you get caught up in a feeling like that, you're not conscious. You're somewhere else. But anyway, if you're conscious enough, you can look at, it's like you step back and you look at it and you'll say, what color is this? And you put a color on it. You hold the vibration, you're still frustrated, whatever. What color is it? And let's say it's a dark purple. Well, I have a no, I don't have really dark. I have black and a lilac color on my top. So, okay, it's a dark purple. Now, what we're going to do is change the color. We're going to take the color, and in our mind, we're going to make it lavender, or we're going to make it pink, or we're going to make it something else. Now, I have to admit, it's a little bit of practice, but it's worth it. Because what happens as you change the color, the feeling dissipates. It's like you've given the subconscious the message, I don't like this, but I like that. And it's as though all of a sudden, same situation, but you're not frustrated or angry or ticked off or whatever you want to call it. So what happens is by changing that. Now, on Wednesday, when I was talking on Wednesday, some of you might want to go back and listen to that, is that I didn't get to explain this part. And I have two people that would on my chat line that were there listening. So they'll really get this. Now, we can also do that. I found color works for a lot of different things. The freeze, evaporate, and replace with the thoughts. That works like a charm, especially once you learn how to do it. The feelings of the different elements of what you feel is a little different. So it takes a bit more practice, you could say. And also to find what let me rephrase that. We often don't realize what we're actually feeling. And to learn how to name the feelings is the first step. What am I really feeling here? You may be thinking you're feeling frustration, but really you're feeling just plain, it's more anger than frustration. Maybe you're feeling deprived. It's a funny feeling, that when you feel somebody's ignored you, or you wanted something and it's not there, it didn't come. So what do you do with that? Same thing. What color is it? And you could get into shape as well if you wanted. If you wanted to broaden it out, okay, it's like a blob and it's black. Okay, so what do I want to change that black blob into? Well, for me, I've always used a yellow for just about everything. And so, but sometimes that doesn't work. It's not going to transform it. So you can look, you ask, what color is going to have that transform? What color is going to feel that better? Because what we want is those feelings that you carry inside, and that subconscious gets the message. This is not the best way of handling things. This is not what we want. And I'm not going to say it's overnight. It'll change the feeling in the moment. But over time, your system will automatically change it. Because you haven't got the storehouse of anger or frustration or resentment and all those darker feelings that a lot of us carry around for a long, long time. So it will all begin to shift and change and work a little bit in that way of how you experience life. And what it does is put the control, the reins back into you and your mind. So your subconscious begins to respond differently. You begin to see the life differently. You won't be needing to do those internal transformations as often. And you'll get happier. You'll get saner in the sense that you're not trying to, what am I supposed to do with this? That all that edginess begins to subside. Doesn't mean you don't experience every time. No, you'll experience them sometimes because they're real. You want to be in touch with your feelings, but the key is you're not a prisoner to your feelings. You're not having to react. Like if it's really, you'll know what to do. And the thing is, your system will have learned that, we can feel it, name it. Naming it is really important. I maybe didn't didn't stress that. To name a feeling is probably the most important thing. To be able to qualify what that feeling is to you. Now, it doesn't mean it's that to the world, but if you can name it, it's like, have you ever had a cat or a dog or an animal, and if you call it its name, it sort of looks up, what did I do? And so the same thing is inside. When you have a feeling, especially when you're not used to addressing the feeling and just living it or feeling it, but not really knowing what to do with it, it's like, name it. And then if it's still, sometimes it'll just trouble, but if you use color with that, whoa, and do the transformation. For those of you that know me and listen, you know that I'm the big transformational person. Actually, I have a transformation session coming up this afternoon because yesterday I was supposed to do it and I didn't have a computer. I went to try, here's my little phone, went to try and get back on YouTube using my phone. And I used to do, that's how I started off a lot doing these. When I rekindled my channel, drove me crazy last night trying to figure out how to do it. So I'm going to have to figure that out again with a little bit of quiet. So I went, oh, well, we'll wait till the morning. And then I came out, I prayed on it. For those of you that come to mental mind treatments, I was doing that. I got really upset about the whole thing because I couldn't make it change. Apparently it crashed. I found out this morning when I came out and I went, oh, I remember when this happened. I just had to touch these and hold it down. 5 seconds. The picture came back up. And it looks like that's what happened. It's still maybe not perfect and it still worries me, but we'll figure that out. At least I have a picture. At least I can do this little talk. And Leroy, Karen, and Matzo7, thank you for being here and listening to this, etc. I'm proud of that. But really, I'm serious. Re-listen to this. Make a notes because especially the 3 that's on here, you are avid supporters, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And because sometimes it's like, oh, okay, well, where are we going today? So I am looking at September, but then September's coming so fast, it isn't funny. I'm actually getting ready for my son's birthday, which is the 1st of September, and I'm sort of sitting here in a little bit of shock because he turned 60. It's like, oh dear, I'm really aging myself here, but that's the truth. And so I'm, it's interesting when my daughter left and still in her mid 50s, I guess. No, I don't know how many years ago now. It's a few. So she would have been 63 now. But life goes on, and we need to be as clean and clear. You wouldn't have thought last night I was pretty upset with my computer. And I couldn't figure out how to make it work through my phone. I used to use the phone for a long, long time. Anyway, enough chatting out. I want to let you know so we're on Sunday. So Monday night is back to mental mind treatments. For those of you who watch this, you have never ever experienced a Monday night mental mind treatments. What we do is people and it's with psychic impressions. You live in the chat room. Mouth's not working right. You list on the chat what your issue is. You also pick 3 numbers between 1 and 22. You type them in. And then I come to you, to your name, and talk about, give my impression based on those 3 numbers of what's going on around the issue. And then we do a mental mind treatment, which is basically an alternative prayer. And believe me, when I'm beginning to get messages back how much it's helped, how much it's changed things, how much it's worked. So don't ever not ignore Monday nights if you can help it. We've had trouble with the computer freezing, but I think we're going to handle on that. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you with that thought. Thoughts, freeze, evaporate, replace. Emotions, if you can name it, the better. Color it, transform the color, make it into something else. And what'll happen is that you'll become calmer, you'll become easier, everything will work much more effectively. So guys, Leroy, Karen, and Master 7, thank you so much for joining in. And have a good day, and I'll hopefully see you tomorrow night and mental mind treatments. Bye for now.